Hi, welcome back to It's American Beauty. Today is Full Face Friday for Charlotte Tilbury. So this Full Face Friday of Charlotte Tilbury is even more exciting because I am doing it with Beauty by Annechris. Her and I have been kind of chatting and following each other and how, supporting each other since she started her channel. My channel is just maybe a few months older than her, so pretty much since day one. So her channel is pretty exciting because she does a blend of Get Ready With Me. She does a lot about indie makeup brands, which for me is really exciting because that's a new genre for me, or a new frontier for me. I don't really know a lot of indie brands, so that's exciting. But she also does no buys, pan challenges, things. We just have a lot in common, and I find it exciting seeing her point of view on things. Her pan challenges in particular I like because she does regular updates. I'm really horrible at regular updates because I do feel like I see no progress and then boom, there's a pan, or boom, it's at the end. So I tend to be really crappy at doing those follow-ups, and I do like she does her updates in regular intervals. So I hope that you will check her out. I am going to put her up in the cards, and I am going to link her channel down below, and I hope while you're there you will support her, like, share, subscribe, and of course I'm going to ask you to do the same on mine. And let's get started on Charlotte Tilbury Full Face Friday. It's one I've been planning for probably 9 months and I'm super excited about, so let's get going. Okay, so I am starting with my eyes prime like I always do. I did use the Magic Away Charlotte Tilbury concealer. It does look like this. Like it has a sponge tip, and it lets you know in the window how little it's going to last you because I've barely used it and I'm already up there. Next, I set my lids with the Flawless Airbrush Finish Powder. It does look like that. I have it pan in this one. It's not a very big powder, so I'm not really super proud of that pan. So we are going to start with the eyes, as I always do. And I am using the Easy Eye Palette for the Charlotte Darling look, and it does look like this. It's intended to have two different sections who then create either a night look or a day look. I did previously film this and the audio was completely messed up, so I am refilming, but I did use the deeper looks and it really wasn't my favorite, so I think I'm going to do the lighter section today. And I'm going to take this medium shade right here and this shade right here and mix them. There are only 3 mattes and then there's 3 shimmers. That is my transition shade so far. So next, I think what I'm going to do is actually use 2 shimmers and then deepen out my outer corner. So I think that I'm going to put this in the center and then put either this one or this one on the outer areas. So create kind of a halo eye, but not a super halo. Not even sure what that means, but hopefully you understand. So first I want to do the center portion. That was very easy. I did not wet my brush. I literally just used it as is. Next I'm going with the other one, the outsides again. This is as you saw from the intro, this is a collab with Beauty by Annechris. Her and I have kind of supported it and helped each other or talked. I think pretty much since her channel started. Her channel is just slightly a few months younger than mine, but she's really doing great and she does a great job. So one of the things I like that she does is that she actually splits between pan challenges, indie makeup, and Get Ready With Me. So because depending on what your preferences are, she hits a lot of people in the beauty market because a lot of the stuff she covers is pretty much pegs everybody. I'm just looking at her page because I have a memory of a toad, but one of the things I do like that she does is she does her Project Pan updates. So one of the things that I do Project Pan, but I'm horrible about doing my updates because I just don't think about it, and I typically feel very discouraged in my pan challenges because I feel like nothing's even being used. It just happened with Laura Mercier. So I thought it was below the letters. I looked at it, thought it wasn't. I thought it was a lot higher. So I added it to a second pan challenge so it would go through the end of the year. I actually just finished it. I poured it into another container to get the last little drops out, but those oxidized, so really truly it is finished. But I tend to hesitate to do updates because I feel like I'm going to do 100 updates that say I haven't got anywhere and then all of a sudden it's gone. So that's why I do, but she's really good about it. And then my absolute favorite thing that she does is that she actually does a lot of videos on indie brands, which is a new thing for me. I've always just bought from the really store big mass type of brands. So having someone that actually does a lot of the indie stuff really helps, and she isn't one to throw a new product in every single video. So if you are panning or on a no buy, I feel safe watching her that I'm not going to be triggered to go buy a bunch of stuff. Although I will say when I watch her videos, I do typically write down names I want to, like if it's on sale in the future or I plan to do it. Also does Will I Buy It? And these are ones that of course she's not the only one doing that, but I do feel like she does a really good job with it. I feel like she gives the background about her tastes and what her preferences are and things like that, on top of just showing what the new releases are. And besides all of that, she's just really kind. From day one of her and I talking, she's just shown immense kindness with me, and I always appreciate kindness wherever you can find it. So just want to give another shout out to Beauty by Annechris. And what am I doing next? I kind of feel like this needs more. Maybe first I'll try redoing the center, see if that helps it. I've been collecting these products, an idea of this video, for almost a year, 9 months, 8 months, something like that, because I wanted to do it and I wasn't going to go drop $400 just to do a video, but it was a dual. I wanted to do more, try more Charlotte Tilbury, and then I also wanted to do this video. Okay, I did just clean up under my under eye, and I am going to move to primer. For primer, I have the Wonder Glow Instant Soft Focus with Beauty Flash. Does look like that. So this is one I had never tried before. And then when I filmed the first copy of this, when the sound was messed up, I was kind of shocked that it was tinted. For some reason, I didn't realize this was tinted. I thought it was just a normal primer. But so far, I didn't really notice it adjusted my skin color at all. I felt like it just did the glow portion. I guess I can see just a little bit on my forehead that changed color, but it's really not much. So next, I'm going to go in with a Hollywood Flawless filter. I do use this one all over my face a lot. Because I did just use that primer, I'm not going to put it everywhere, but I am going to put it places I like to have glow. I kind of came close to putting it everywhere, but it's even picking up on the camera. It's very luminous. I mean, the other primer is too, but I do need to let this one sit. If I try to do foundation on this immediately, it will pill. So I'm going to let this sit for just a minute, and then we will move on to the next stage. I have my favorite coffee cup. Is Frida Kahlo. They had a Frida Kahlo exhibit in Detroit at the DIA, Detroit Institute of Arts, with Diego.
Her husband or ex-husband, well, they're both dead now, I think, but when they were together.
It was probably one of the best art exhibits I've ever been to. It truly had a lot of like expression, but it had such a big grouping of all their paintings. You could kind of see their progression as they went through life. It was really an awesome experience. So next I'm going to color correct. I am using the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless color correction. I do have color 1. And I do tend to blend this in with my finger in any brand that I use. Once in a while I will use a concealer brush, but I do prefer to blend in. I feel like your fingers heat it up and help it meld into the skin better. Next I have, this is a like travel trial size I received from Sephora, and this is the Airbrush Flawless Foundation. Stays all day and night, and it does look like this, and I am in 3C. I did like this last time. I need another foundation, like I need a hole in my head, and I'm trying to go into a no buy, so I probably, at least right now, won't be buying this, but if I get any gift cards or stuff over the holidays, I probably will pick it up. My husband actually does Speedway. Gas stations actually have gift cards. If you get enough points, you can buy gift cards. So he waits till he can buy me a couple, and then he buys me Sephora ones because he's just a sweetheart like that. This is, I believe, the Essence sponge. It is not my favorite. I actually prefer anyone but this, but it was my clean one, and I didn't want to mix foundations on my blender. I do feel like even with this crappy sponge, this is an easy foundation to blend out. I did post on my Instagram, not sure you follow me there, but I did post there. I had a reaction to a product, and I still have a little bit of rash down here, but I had a rash all over the lower part of my face. It was terrible. So I'm not going to put a ton, but I do want to just let that sit for a minute. And then I'll rub it in. While it's doing that, I am going to put my concealer on my face. The longer you let your under eye sit, the more coverage the concealer will give you. And this is like a light to medium concealer, so I am trying to let that sit for a second and sink in. It doesn't have to sit super long, just 30 to 90 seconds depending on the formula. So that is my foundation and concealer together. I am going to go ahead and powder, because I do have all powder products I'm using today. So I'm going to set it with the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Finish. It does look like that. And again, I do have a pan in it. that is my makeup set. I am going to move into bronzer and contour. So I do have this is the Film Star Bronze and Glow. This is a cool tone bronzer, so some people use it as contour. I actually purchased, and in the video I did that was messed up, I did have the Charlotte Tilbury bronzer, but I had purchased number 1 and you couldn't even see it on my skin. Like, it literally was like I put on nothing, which is weird because number 1 should be okay for me. But I actually returned it, and the store I returned it to did not have them, so I either have to order it again and stuff. But with this foundation, it's really important. It literally like whites you out and makes you look very flat, so you got to kind of add some color back in. So next I'm going to go into blush. This is the Cheek to Chic, and this is Love is the Drug. And it looks like that. It is meant to be like swirled, and then the center is supposed to be like a pop. It looks like really pale in the center, so I'm just taking a Morphe fan brush. And I do this a lot. I'm actually just going into the sculpt side really lightly, and I even tap my brush off. And then I just kind of go through this area a little bit. Try to make it just not as fair or as pale. So next I am just going to brush my brows out. I did not buy a pencil liner because I didn't really have the urge or need for one, and I didn't actually have the urge for a gel either. However, I actually had a Sephora discount because of my credit card, so I actually paid about $6 for it. So I used all my points from that. Her coloring on Sephora for her brow products are kind of difficult to figure out. However, on their website, they actually have like a cheat that shows, you know, this color equals this, because they rename them and they're not named on shades. So it's kind of a neat system. So even if you want to buy it by Sephora to get your points, check out her website. It does have better information. So there are my brows done. I honestly don't need to do a lot. My brows, I do have pretty thick brows. I just like to control them and add just a little bit in the front. I will say this is one of the brow gels that actually make your brows kind of like gel down or crispy. I prefer a more natural look, so that one's definitely not my favorite. Definitely glad I didn't pay full price for that one. So next I want to finish my eyes. I'm going back in that shadow palette, and I'm going to touch up the outer corner. I am taking just the tiniest little packing brush, and I am going to do my inner corner. I do think that her formula is really good. So I just want to add just a touch of that darker color on the bottom. Don't want a ton, I just wanted to kind of connect it like that. I did bring, just to be transparent, my voluminous mascara primer. My lashes do not cooperate with any mascara without a primer. I have very straight growing and stubborn lashes, so I am going to prime my lashes to give it a fair shot. I feel like that's only fair. Okay, so I am going to quickly curl my lashes and put my primer on, and then I'll come back for the mascara. So that is with my primer and my lashes curled. So I do have 2 samples of her Legendary Lashes, Volume 2. They do look like this. I did get them free with my orders. So I obviously take it a grain of salt with mascara. It's a sample. You don't always get the exact same use factor because they just don't have as much and you can't try them as many times. But it will give us enough for a first impression and show us what it's like. So it does feel like it's going on really smooth, even over that primer. Pillow Talk eyeliner or lip liner. Does it look like this? This is the lip liner. I have a couple lipsticks that came in those packages I bought, you know, on like they were free gifts at Sephora and also at Charlotte Tilbury. One is a full lipstick in Stone Rose. It does look like this. And it looks like just a normal mauve, but it's very orange toned. Like, I can see it, I guess now it does look like it has a little bit of orange. When I first looked at it, I thought it was just mauve, but it literally clashes with the eyes. So it's kind of one of those that I personally don't look good in oranges anyways, but when I have a bronzy, pinky red look, when I use a bronze lip, it just goes crazy. So next I have a liquid lip, and this is in Charlotte Darling, and it does look like this. This one looks like this. It is much darker than it appears. And then I have this little itty bitty baby sample of Pillow Talk. So I am going to use that today. I think that will match the best. Okay, So that is the finished look so far. I am going to go finish straightening my hair, and then I will come back and show you the full picture of the finished look and see where we're at and review some of these products. So this is the finished look for the Charlotte Tilbury Full Face Friday, the collab with Beauty by Annechris. Let's summarize the products really quick so that this video isn't a million years long. Easy Eye Palette does look like this, again, to refresh your memory. So this is one that, while it performs superbly, I mean, perfectly, it's not my favorite color story. If it did not come in that gift pack, I would not have reached for this one. I did think this worked fantastic. You can do a deeper smoky look with it. It does look really good. So the two primers, there was the Wonder Glow and the Hollywood Flawless Finish. I actually liked both of these. I love the glow that this gives. It comes through, and this powder, it still allows it to come through. This one isn't bad. There's nothing wrong with it. I just prefer one or the other, and I'm not going to spend that kind of money on two different primers. So next I have the Color Correct. This is one I actually am kind of unofficially panning right now. I do have a huge dip in it, and it's not a good value. I actually have a video, I will tag it up in the card somewhere, of the comparing color correctors for fair skin. This one is one of the least values you can get. Next is the concealer. This is one I probably will never purchase again. Again, it has a very small amount in it. I'm already up to there. And it has that sponge tip applicator, but also it's just not my favorite. Like right now, I don't know if it's picking up on camera, but I can still see like a shadow under my eyes. So I definitely don't love this concealer. When I use the Charlotte Tilbury color corrector and I use it with like my Dose of Colors, or I'm trying to think of some other favorite concealers, the new Clinique. When I use those, you cannot see that shadow. It completely washes it away. So not my favorite. The foundation, I really like how this foundation looks. I feel like it's a little matte for me, so I would have used a more dewy primer. Like this is very glowy, but it's not dewy. It almost sets flat. I would have used a dewy primer if I were to use this in my everyday life, which I am planning to use this entire thing. So we'll see how that goes. I actually talked about how I figured I was going to hit pan soon, and I did. Because it's so expensive, I do only use it for certain things. I typically do not use it to set my makeup like I did today. I use it strictly as a finishing powder or only under my eyes. So while I think this works fantastic, the amount of product you get, which is 8 grams or 0.28 ounces, just isn't worth the price tag of $45. Now if we look at that bronze and highlight palette, this is the Hollywood Bronze and Glow. It looks like this. I am going to apply that highlighter. I forgot to do it earlier when we were finishing up, so I am just going to do that really quick. But it definitely gives you a glow. If you like a subtle highlighter, this is the one for you. I rarely use a subtle highlighter. I like to be seen from space, but it does work really well. So this is probably my favorite product of all of these, I will be honest. As much as I like some of the other ones, this one is just so easy to use and it looks good every single time. This is much more subtle than I would prefer for a primer, but I do think that subtle primers have a place and a time, and I definitely like having one in my collection. So I definitely am glad I have that product. Hindsight's always 2020. I wanted one of these blushes forever, and I mean forever. So had I realized, I definitely wouldn't have chose this color. I do think it's a little bit too bright pink for my tone. I definitely think you can blend it in. I think you can make it work, but I would have chose, I was afraid there's another one that's a super pale pink with like a more deeper shade in the center, not a brighter shade, and I wanted that one, but I was afraid it wouldn't even show up on my skin because it looked that fair, especially after I'd purchased that bronzer and it didn't show up. However, also this one is supposed to be a luminous blush, which is my preference, so that's why I purchased it. So I'm not unhappy with the formula or the performance or anything else. I just wish I would have myself would have picked a better shade. Legendary Brows. This one I don't prefer. It made my brows very crispy. It feels like I have hairspray in them, so it's definitely not my favorite product. I will be debating returning it because even though I only paid about $6 for it, I'm not sure if I will even get $6 worth of use because I don't care for my brows to be crispy. My brows look good. I don't have any problems with the visual effects of my brows, but I just don't care for the formula. The mascara, again, I don't think it's a bad mascara. I don't think it's horrible. I did get some transfer on the top of my lashes. Legendary Lashes, I think that it's a good one. If you have very cooperative or naturally curled lashes, I think this would be perfect. I think it looks fine. But for my lashes being as stubborn as they are, and I have long lashes, but they're very microscopic and very light colored, so the tubing mascaras do tend to take care of them better. The eyeliner is super creamy, super easy. I rarely use black eyeliner under my eye anymore, and I honestly really like the way this looks. I like it smudged out. I would love this for a smoky eye because it was so easy to use. I typically use color in my waterline, and I typically use color mascara on my bottom. This came free in the kit. I did not pick this out, so it did give me a chance to try her formula, and her formula works fantastic. Same with the lip liner. This is the Pillow Talk again, and this was buttery smooth, and I had zero issues. I, again, probably wouldn't have purchased the lip liner only because I just have so many, but it came in the kit, so I was able to try it. The two free lipsticks I got was a Bullet lipstick and a Hollywood Legendary Lips, or Hollywood Lips. These are the orangey toned, and the darker than would probably look good with this look. However, both formulas worked fantastic. I did try them previously. And then last of all is the Pillow Talk. I'm not sure which formula this is from because it does not tell me. However, this little tiny Pillow Talk, it did work absolutely fantastic. My lips feel great. So that is my summary of Charlotte Tilbury for Full Face Friday Charlotte Tilbury. Again, this is a collab with Beauty by Annechris. I hope you will check out her channel. I'm going to link it in the cards and down below. Make sure for both of us that you like, share, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and if you wouldn't mind commenting below if you've made it this far, what your favorite product is by Charlotte Tilbury if you own them, or what you would love to try if you do not. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope I see you again soon.